let's talk about the most certain thing that we have, that Jim Harbaugh, that Jim Harbaugh does appear to be back at Michigan for the 2023 season. Now, to speak Harbaugh is very difficult. So when he says things like, I love the relationships that I have at Michigan, coaches, staff, families, administration, President Santaono, and especially the players and their families, my heart is at the University of Michigan. I once heard a wise man say, don't try to out happy, go blue. He didn't commit to being at Michigan for 2023. But to speak Harbaugh, especially in the wake of Santaono's announcement that I just got off the phone with Coach Harbaugh, and Jim shared with me the great news that he is going to remain the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. This is fantastic news that I've communicated to our athletic director, Ward Manuel. Jim Harbaugh is going to be back at Michigan for 2023. And while I have not seen any official reporting or any official news, I'm assuming this is coming with a new contract.
I would think so. I mean,
compensation and some changes to, the cuts and the readjusted contract. And as we've gone back and forth, that Jim Harbaugh maybe decided to play a little bit of his leverage that he has here as a two-time Big Ten champion head coach. So where does Michigan come out on the other side of this?
I mean, I think you're right. I don't. There's going to be a new contract just because if you look at his salary compared to what some of the other Big Ten coaches are making, and he's won the conference the last 2 years, it's not really, comparable. He should be paying more based on that market. But what was interesting to me is like I've been pretty adamant that I thought he was coming back for a while. I thought that unless a team offered him complete control of everything, which NFL teams just don't do anymore, he wasn't going to leave for an NFL gig. But what was the most interesting aspect of all this to me is, read that statement again, Chip. There's a name that isn't in it.
Ward Emanuel.
Yeah.
The athletic director.
Mm-hmm.
He's going straight to the top. He's bypassing his boss.
Yeah, and it's been a few times. Like, I don't think this is the first time Harbaugh has not mentioned his athletic director in these, weird statements that he's made that have said, I'm coming back. And I think that there is partial, like, if you think back to Jim Harbaugh's time at the NFL, what was the breakdown with San Francisco? It was the relationship with him and his general manager. I feel like there might be something going on between him and Ward Manuel where, they've been together a long time. Jim Harbaugh, from people I have talked to, say he's not, it's just, it could be difficult to work with Jim Harbaugh. It could be difficult to have Jim Harbaugh work for you for a long period of time, just because he is different. Not bad, just it can get on you. He's a different type of person. And, he's very, very into his football, and just he's got a code, I guess is the best way to put it. And he follows it. But I just wonder if there's some sort of friction forming between him and Ward Manuel. And that has really been maybe the impetus between this the last couple of years of his seemingly return inflated interest in going back to the NFL. And maybe if this power play isn't just about getting a raise, but maybe he's going to be negotiating the raise with.
Interesting take there. I also noticed that Manuel was not in the statement. So you have to assume that Manuel was involved, but maybe not directly involved with him coming back. I think the most obvious factor for him coming back is that he did not get the offer that he wanted from the NFL. And if you're Ward Manuel, we're like, really? Are we going to do this every year, Jim? Because your recruiting should be better. Now, Tom and I could sit on here and debate, should they be top 5 or whatnot, but they absolutely should be top 10 every year based on the fact that they have won the Big Ten back-to-back years. They have gone to the college football playoff back-to-back years, and yet they've missed on some important kids. And I do think that Harbaugh's repeated flirtations with the NFL is a factor in this. So if you're Manuel, we're like, dude, I love having the results that you produce on the field. I think the sustainability could be even better if you recruited a little bit better here. Harbaugh's probably like, well, yeah, how about you give me some more NIL to play with and loosen those purse strings with that and stop being old, stodgy Michigan a little bit. They're doing that with the one more year fund, apparently, at least a little bit. We'll get to that in a second when we do our top winners and losers of the NFL draft deadline. If you're Manuel, it's got to be annoying to do this dance with a guy every single year, right? And that's kind of what this is. I fully expect Harbaugh to flirt with the NFL next year because I don't think he wants to coach college football. I think he wants to try to coach in the NFL.
I don't think he doesn't want to coach college football.
Okay, he would prefer to coach the NFL?
I
No,
think that,
I think he just wants to be in charge somewhere.
I think that I think that he still desires winning at the highest level in the National Football League, in all of the like capital F football that comes with NFL brain. I think he still got it. And so I think he can be satisfied and placated with his job at the University of Michigan, trying to win Big Ten championships and trying to contend for a college football playoff. I don't think he's running away from Michigan, but I do think we're going to go through this every single. We have a closer relationship with fans than we do with administrators here at the Cover 3 podcast. If I'm a Michigan fan, I think this is going to be exhausting. I think we're going to be doing this every single offseason.
Yeah, I think this is just kind of part of the package of what you have to deal with. Because, I mean, let's be real. Like, Mike Gundy would flirt with other coaching jobs all the time, and he's always coming back to Oklahoma State. He was never flirting with NFL jobs. Jim Harbaugh can flirt with NFL jobs because there are NFL teams interested in him. Like, that's part of the deal. Like, if you have a chance to go to the NFL, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice if you don't at least consider the options that are available to you. And he clearly, he probably wants to win a Super Bowl as a coach. It's something he hasn't done. But I don't think that has anything to do with him not wanting to coach at the college level. I still think he wants to coach at the college level. But if the right NFL situation came along, he would leave Michigan for it. But I think it's got to be a specific situation for him to leave Michigan. I think he would rather just, like I was saying, I think the situation could be more along the lines of just him not being very happy with his boss. Maybe it stems from 2020. Maybe it stems from the salary reduction. I don't know, but it's just that is the impression I get. This is not being told to me from anybody. Just kind of reading the tea leaves on my own. I feel like there's something there that's not being discussed.
I totally can see that. Do you think that it's hard to say he overplayed his hand because he really has Michigan by the horns here, right? Like the level of production that he has given to Michigan has really not been matched, rarely, if ever, in our lifetimes. So, this level of success at Michigan is awesome. Michigan kind of has to do whatever he wants now, given that he's won the Big Ten back-to-back years and made the playoff twice. I wonder, do you think he plays out his new contract at Michigan whenever he gets it? I mean, we haven't seen the length of it yet right now, but I mean, do you think he's coaching Michigan 2 years from now or 3 years from now? Or do you think eventually he'll take a lesser NFL job?
No, I don't think he's going to go back to the NFL just to be a head coach and have somebody give him players and tell him, here you go do what you want to do.
It's whatever owner has decided that you can be the coach, general manager, super everything sort of power.
And there are really only a couple owners, I think, who would still consider that. And one of those has an opening right now and doesn't seem to be interested in doing it. So
the other one,
the other one, I feel like Mark Davis did it with John Gruden with the Raiders. So I feel like he would probably still consider doing it. Like, I know they hate Mike Mayock as the general manager, but I think we all know who the ultimate decision maker was in that situation. But that's not the model the NFL follows anymore. Like, that's just a very old school kind of approach to it. Whereas now it's like, I don't know, you've got your coach and your coach works for the GM and the GM works for the president, and all those guys will make all those decisions. It's more business than it used to be.
All right, if we're just judging Jim Harbaugh based on his college success, clearly 25 wins in the last 2 seasons, in the last 4 seasons that have been full schedule. So throw out 2020, 9 wins or more in every single year. In 3 out of the last 4 seasons that have been full schedules, he's gone 8-1 or better in Big Ten play. Is he a top 5 coach in college football, taking that on-field success, but also factoring in, I know Bud always likes to look at recruiting, is he a top 5 coach in college football right now?
Yes. I don't really think it's much of a debate, honestly.
I mean, all right. Kirby over him, Nick over him for sure. In some order, right? Recency bias is Kirby, obviously. Other things is,
Oh, yeah, that's just going to be joy for May. When we get into the coach rankings in May, Kirby over Nick is just going to be fantastic.
Just wait until Harbaugh's over Day. Because Ohio State fans been yelling at me for not putting Day in the top 5 the last few years. And I'm like, what has he won?
I'll do Harbaugh over Day.
Yeah, I know. But I'm saying I'm anticipating what the response will be for that. But Harbaugh should be top 5. I mean, I feel like your top 4 are Nick, Kirby, Dabo, I still think, because he's got the rings, and Harbaugh. I mean, who's your fifth right now?
So Lincoln was hot for a little bit. I think that you could put Harbaugh over Lincoln at this point.
Yeah, I think they're in very much the
Lincoln's
same
got
tier.
more-
You could put Lincoln ahead of Harbaugh because he's been to the playoff more often.
More times, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
He's a top 5 coach in college football. He probably should be compensated like one. And I don't like trying to count other people's pockets or trying to guess how much money matters to these guys. It's like, well, he doesn't need the money. That's not exactly the game always when it comes to these sorts of things. So Jim Harbaugh, it does look like he is, thanks to the support of the president and some statements from Harbaugh, looks like he's back for 2023. This NFL coaching carousel will not result in a job opening at Michigan football. However,
Hey, Chip,
Fast forward 2
one
weeks.
thing. One thing I wanted to bring up here that I did not fully know. I heard this on one of the NFL broadcasts this weekend. Do you know like the top coaches in the NFL are making $20 million now? I didn't know that.
20.
One of the broadcasts said like the very best coaches in the NFL now are making $20 million, which is kind of shocked me. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize they were making that much. Now, not all of them. Like apparently some of these franchises
That is
are
not
pretty cheap.
true.
That is not
Okay.
true.
No, the highest paid NFL coach. Hold on, let me look at this list real quick. The highest paid NFL coaches in 2023. Now, I just Googled this, so it is
It's 100%
reliable.
right.
It's from Wolfgang Sport. Oh, maybe it is that true. Hold on one second. Oh, screw it. Your ad blocker is on. Sean McVay makes between 15 and 18. Belichick's at 12 and a half. Pete Carroll's at 11. Shanahan's at 9.5. And the other Harbaugh is at 9.
Yeah, the floor I thought was 7 or 8. I
Yeah.
did not know the ceiling had gotten to 20, but
It might here soon. I mean, I don't know. NFL money's just as stupid as college money at this point, really. So,
Because they used to not make much more.
no.
Like it used to be just Belichick, right? And maybe Sean Payton for a little while made a ton.
Sean Payton, I bet you know it, you're right. Sean Payton will probably get 20 wherever the hell he ends up. He's got every single team that is interviewing him right now. This is now becoming the Pick Six podcast, but I think Sean Payton might crack the 20.
were you saying that just in general for like what would motivate, like continual reasons why Harbaugh would be entertained by the opportunity to go to the NFL?
So for a long time, coaches had complained, "Hey, I'm going to go to the NFL," and I was like, "Well, good luck. I mean, your main skill is recruiting, and that's not really a valuable skill in the NFL." But their main reasons for going were you don't have to recruit and babysit all these kids and transfer portal, and there's more certainty, and you actually get to do more coaching and less just babysitting, for lack of a better term. But now I think one of the reasons could also be money, right? It may be that the NFL coaches are now being paid quite a bit more than college guys are at the very top. I mean, that's what's a top college guy make, 11 or 12? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 50% more at the very top.
Are Saban, Kirby, Dabo are all in the like 10 point something, I
Yeah.
think at this point.
And then it's like, because the universities are kind of embarrassed to pay them more than that, they do some different stuff with deferred compensation. They do some stuff with life insurance policies that the school pays for. They do like they'll buy your house and lease it back to you. That type of stuff, right? So it's different.